This is me running on a flat surface, and this is me running on a small uphill, and this is me running on the steepest hill in the world. This hill is a mile long and gains 550 feet of elevation. That's literally the equivalent of running to the top of a skyscraper. And today, I'm gonna see how fast I can run a mile up the world's steepest hill. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the goal here is probably to break 8 minutes. That might seem slow, but based on Strava's intensive gap formula, an 8-minute mile up this hill equals a 5:20 on a flat surface. But hey, at least my quads are gonna be absolutely shredded after this. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. It's time for me to be in the most pain I've ever been in my life.
On your mark, get set, go.
And just like that, my quest begins to break 8 minutes in probably what is going to be the hardest mile of my life. I started off running way too fast, but my support squad didn't think so at all.
What is this, a nice easy day?
It clearly isn't an easy day, but I'm running so fast at the beginning that it looks easy climbing up this hill. But my dad quickly changes his mind.
You're gonna die.
Well, that remains to be seen, but right now I'm absolutely killing 8-minute mile pace. And the video really just doesn't do it justice. This hill was ridiculously steep, and every step I took was such a force of energy, I was dying within 200 meters. For reference, I did all of the math, and this hill averages a 10.4% grade, which is honestly just absolutely insane. And right now, before you make it to the end of the video, go ahead and comment what you think I'm gonna end up running on this mile. No cheating. Comment what you think right now and see how close you are at the end. Meanwhile, I'm still steamrolling ahead. I'm on a little bit of a flat surface, which makes it a lot easier. This week, I ran 57 miles, so this did not feel good on top of that many miles. On top of the high mileage week, I also had a race the day after I did this mile. I raced a 15K, which is a little bit weird, but it was by far the fastest race of my life, and I could not believe how fast I ran. Video for that is going to be out next Wednesday. I'm beginning to near the quarter mile mark, which is going to start the hardest 400 meters of the uphill mile. Let's go ahead and check where I am on the map. I'm about to make the turn and then start the long straightaway to the finish, but first I have to get through the hardest quarter mile. You guys can tell how steep the course has gotten. It's probably about 15% grade uphill at this quarter mile, and my form is really starting to suffer here. I literally look like an old man at the very last legs of a marathon. I'm about 0.3 miles in right now, but I literally feel as if I've run 12 miles. I actually wanted to stop so badly and just walk. That's how hard it was to continue running up this hill. But the whole time I was just thinking 1 foot in front of the other. Take one step and then the next and then the next, and then you're running up an uphill mile. I was also trying to stay locked in on the goal of breaking 8 minutes. See, I'd already failed my goal on this hill 3 times before. You might recognize this hill as the one I tried to run sub 4 down. And I tried to run this sub 4 mile 3 times, and I literally failed every single time. So it was my ultimate goal to come back here and actually succeed on this hill and run the sub 8. The only problem was it was getting nearly impossible to hold 8-minute mile pace as we were going up the steepest section of the entire race. At this point, I was really starting to doubt myself. My breathing was ridiculously heavy. It felt like I could not catch my breath at all, and my legs were absolutely screaming in protest. If you guys want to see how hard it is to run something like this, go outside and find the steepest hill you possibly can. This will probably be about a quarter mile or so, and then try to run that 4 times in a row with no break whatsoever, and you'll get a little sense of how I was feeling. This is by far one of the hardest things I've ever done, and I would take the sub 4 mile any day before having to do this again. One thing this is super good for though is marathon training. I'm training for the Philadelphia Marathon in November, and I need my legs to be super strong so that I can run 26 miles on them, and this right here is definitely making my legs stronger. So at this point I have been running for about 4 minutes, and since my goal is 8 minutes, I'm starting to finally near the halfway point in this ridiculous challenge. If we take a look at the map, we can see I've made it past all of the curves, and it's just a pure straightaway to finish it out. I can almost see the finish if it wasn't so uphill from this point. And so that, combined with the fact that I'm about to enter the flattest part of the entire course, gives me a second win, and I'm gonna go ahead and start pushing it. As we round the curve here, you guys can kind of see what I've come up on the left side of the screen. It's absolutely ridiculous how steep it is, and it's not even the truly steepest part that came about a quarter mile ago. And so with the hardest part behind us now, I'm starting to think about my goal, and I'm like, okay, it's time to go ahead and break 8 minutes. And here's what my parents thought about the sub 8 goal.
Do you think I can break 8?
I hope so. I just hope you can make it up the hill.
What do you think my chances are of breaking 8?
I guess 50-50. I'd put the over-under at 8 minutes.
And so, desperate to get the under on my dad's bet, I start picking it up. Remember, this is the flattest section. It's probably a 2 or 3% grade at this point, so I know I need to make up time at this place. The only problem with picking it up is that I had just run 2/3 of a mile at this point, completely uphill, and I was really starting to feel it in my legs. I was 100% completely spent at this point, and if we take a freeze frame, you can see the pain I was in. In fact, there's only one thing that causes me more pain. You not being subscribed. So go ahead and subscribe right now, save me from a lot of pain, and let's hit 15K, boys. And now that you're subscribed, it's time to power through the last 400 meters of this mile. Coming up here is a stellar shot of everything I climbed up the last 400 meters. That's about 150 feet of elevation change, and I just blew through it. I knew I was rapidly approaching the end here, but I had no idea what my time was because I hadn't looked at my watch at all. I could be at 7 minutes, I could be at 12 minutes, most likely I was somewhere in between, but I had no idea yet where I was running. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is that it was literally 20 degrees when we were filming this. My hands were completely frozen solid, but luckily I have my Coastline hoodie to keep me warm. You can get yours at coastlinetrackclub.com. Had to throw that plug in there really fast, as I am now in about the last 200 meters of this mile. So I'm trying to kick, I'm trying to give it everything I got down the last stretch. And if we take one more look at the map, we can tell I'm so close to the finish. Am I gonna be sub 8? I'm coming in for the finish, and it is going to be a 9:11. That's gotta be one of the most exhausting things I've ever done. Felt like a 4:11. Here's 2 more videos to watch. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.